Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody? I'll tell you what's going on. XRP news. That's what's going on. Will a ban on all crypto, not just some crypto, all crypto be imposed where, Chip? In the U.S.
Where
That's
else,
what
Jeff?
we want to talk about. Where else? Let's get into that and a lot more because we got a short time to do it and a lot to cover. You ready to kick this thing off?
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to On the Chain, guys. Glad you're here with us today. And if you're loving what you're seeing, if you're a fan of the show, please consider supporting us by hitting that subscribe button. You can also turn on that notification bell, and occasionally you get notified when we go live, hopefully all the time. I don't know if you guys, let me know in the chat if you guys got your notification today. If you're feeling extra generous, you can also drop a super chat or subscribe monthly, or you can support us through our website, which is onthechain.io. Your support means the world to us. It helps the show going to keep going, and we couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you so much. And best way to help us out here, share the show, share it with people. Hey, have you heard about OTC? What's OTC? Over the counter? No, on the chain. And tell them like that, Jeff. That's how you do it.
Man, look at that. Giving a shout out to my
Papa
dad,
got it.
Papa Huddle, coming in early, not towards the middle, not towards the end, catching the whole show. And our one listener, the whole show, Chip, and our one listener from
I was going to ask if our Nebraska listener, what about our one listener over there on Twitch? Can you want to chime in if you're on Twitch? We have one listener on Twitch.
Look at this, Chip. Ronald Woodward's on, got the notification. Everyone's getting the notification tonight. That's the difference.
That's key, buddy. It doesn't always happen. People are like, we don't even. Jeff, I didn't get it. I'm looking at my phone right now. I don't have the notification. It's
good thing I reminded you. Good thing I reminded you there was a show.
There's a show going on? Yeah, I was logging in. Jeff's like panic button. We always hit the panic button if we're not logged in exactly on time. We're like, oh no. He's like blowing up my phone. Dude. It's 7:59. It's 8 o'clock.
Dude, can we get into the really cool article? First article of the night. Let's talk about carbon credits.
I wasn't going to go there first, but I'm going to go. Let's go there second, because sometimes you got to. The wait is going to be so worth it.
Well, it's a Ripple program, Chip, number one. So you guys have got to hang in there to hear all about this cool, state-of-the-art,
beautiful
article concept coming from Ripple.
It's an article concept. I actually really enjoy article concepts, especially when they're funny. So
they are the best.
But Jeff and I had the same reaction to this, so this ought to be a good one. But guys, it's coming up. Please don't go about Hong Kong. Don't fast forward if you're watching on the rewatch. Just
don't
stay
fast
with
forward.
us.
Don't rewind.
Stay with us. But Stu Alderati. So there's a lot of things people freaking out about crypto Twitter. We're here to read the tweets so you guys don't have to, and we're here to show them to you so you don't have to. But let's look at this one here. This one here. Stu Alderati, general counsel of Ripple, said, the SEC lost 4 of its last 5 cases in the Supreme Court, thanks to the few who had the courage and resources to fight back against the SEC's bullying and clinging to stretch legal positions that were not faithful to the law. Thoughts, Jeff?
Spot on. I mean,
uppercut.
Body blow. Uppercut. Jab.
And then Crypto World came in and said, hey, is this a hint that Ripple anticipates fighting the SEC all the way to the Supreme Court? British Miss said, not a great sign / hint in terms of the case finishing anytime soon. Blockchain Trucker said, thought the same until I spoke to a friend of mine. Well, who is your friend there, Blockchain Trucker? I thought the same until I talked to a really important person.
Well, you know what, though? So the expectation then from who said that's not a good sign for the outcome or it ending anytime soon. So actually, was that British Miss? So British Miss said not a good sign. Well, the case will end and then the case will start all over again. So the question is then, does Ripple win this round or does the SEC win this round? Because if it goes to Supreme Court level, then that means that one or the other are going to appeal. So if Ripple wins, does that mean that the SEC doesn't take their ball and go home, does that mean that they're going to come back with more bullying tactics and appeal the case because they think it's going to be wrong? It didn't side on their side with no case. What do you think,
I
Chip?
think they're good. Well, I mean, I think they're going to lose. I think it's a gross overreach, but something that we brought up. We'll get into this in a little bit, but I wanted to put this. So John Deaton chimed in on this and said, I have no doubt Ripple will win, and the current Supreme Court will shut down the SEC's gross overreach. The West Virginia versus EPA case is all you need to read to agree with me. Ripple's summary judgment brief is already an extremely well-written appellate brief.
That's right.
So it's already in preparation. But Jeff, if you remember, I think it was last June that dropped from SCOTUS, from the Supreme Court of the United States, better known as SCOTUS. And we said right here on the chain that this was monumental because the West Virginia said, hey, wait a minute, you can't start making up rules out of nowhere. They were making up rules about how they would govern, and they took them to court, and it escalated to the Supreme Court. And the ruling came down that the EPA was out of line because they were making up rules that were not enacted or mandated by Congress, but they were loosely stretched around it, very loosely. And so when this happened, I remember you and I talking about this, Jeff, and talking about the importance and how this would apply to the Ripple case because of this gross overreach. I mean, in all crypto in general, because it's quite the overreach. And there you go, right there. You want to read that? Decentralization is freedom. That's right. And centralization equals corruption and all the other bad things.
XRP, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's magic. So, so there's so much to unpack, so little time to do it in. There's so many issues. We have just the rest of the show, but so Stu Alderati and John Deaton, I mean, they're hitting it out of the park time and time again. Where is Gary? Gary's out making these funky YouTube videos, called Coffee Talk or Offie Hours, Office Hours.
I like Offie Hours better. It's not quite coffee hours, not quite office hours, somewhere in the middle.
It's Offie Hours.
Offie Hours. Hans Solo, I hope you're compiling this list of misspoken words. I'm just going to say that mostly by that guy, but a lot by this guy right here.
What are you looking at? Who's over there?
Just saying that guy over there. You have the best ones. Mine aren't as good, actually. The ones I mispronounced, but you guys can drop them in the chat if you remember any isms, any Chip or Jeff isms that we've kind of gone off the rails. Offie hours. There it is, right there. You see? Somebody has to compile this. By the way, Jeff, I once had a coworker, and since I work for a tech company, and this is probably bad if you look back at it, it's probably only maybe 10 years ago, but this person had so many cool isms, like ways of misframing stuff, and had just would say things wrong that somebody actually wrote an app that we could actually download. Everybody had the app, and everyone would add the new one, the new ism. That's what we need for On the Chain. It's where is that one part of the website where
On the Chain ism?
On the Chain isms, misspoken sort of words or made up words, and there's been a lot over the years.
The Offie is closed. After hours. Offie is after hours.
And since we're on this, I hate when you click on something and it's supposed to come up, but then it doesn't come up. Hang on. Don't worry. Don't fret. I got this.
I fret no longer.
So here's something else. So Stu Alderati, I believe, was the first one to coin this, but we're going to find out. And again, probably going to be proven wrong on this, but Brad Garlinghouse had tweeted this on December 21st, 2020. Date sound familiar, anyone? Right when that SEC dropped their lawsuit against Ripple. Garlinghouse said today the SEC voted to attack crypto. Chairman Jay Clayton, in his final act, was picking winners and trying to limit U.S. innovation in the crypto industry to Bitcoin and ETH. That was back then. And Stu was the one that came in right behind that and said in 2015, the U.S. government concluded that XRP was a virtual currency. Last I checked, the SEC still part of the U.S. government. Here's the plus side. The industry will finally get the clarity it deserves. Goodbye, Howey test. Hello, Ripple test. Is Stu the first one that coined the whole idea of the Ripple test, Jeff?
What was the date that he posted it? Let's see. Because I think
that
we
is
talked about
December 21st, 2020.
Maybe. Might very well have been.
The Ripple test sounds like, here we are 2+ years later. The Ripple test is coming due. Almost 2 months, 2 and 3, almost 2 months and 2 years and 1 quarter. Man, it's a long time.
Man, it's insane that it's been going on this long, and it's funny too, because you think about it, how often have we referenced Hinman and Clayton, but if you put their faces up, nobody would even recognize them. But everybody knows Gary.
Yeah.
And before this lawsuit dropped, guaranteed nobody knew who they were, right? Mostly the chair of the SEC might be known in some corporate circles, but they typically kind of operate behind the scenes. They don't get a lot of publicity. This guy is getting tons of publicity.
Yeah, but not the good kind, Jeff.
For all the right reasons.
For all the wrong reasons, but yeah, for all the wrong reasons. I said you could ask me saying that.
Who is the one that coined the phrase, Jay Hoddle?
Well, Jay Hoddle says it has to be true because Jay Hoddle is an OG in the space, and that there you go. So that famous Ripple test, Stu Alderati. How about that? Until somebody else proves it different or incorrect, but we shall see. Speaking of the Howey test, Jeff, Mr. Huber put this one up. He's pure fire on Twitter. He said, the Howey test took 782 days from filing the case to the Supreme Court ruling. The Ripple lawsuit now lasts for 791 days, and we don't even have the first ruling. So it's incredible that, well, let's face it. I mean, the year was 46, 47 when the Howey test, when it hit, which came out of the Supreme Court.
There's a couple.
But again, is that more of the court? Is the court supposed to be legislating, or are they supposed to be ruling on existing law? The Howey test came together because of what they pieced together of what made a security out of the 33 and 34 Exchange Act, from what I understand, Jeff. Right? And that's how they created the Howey test, the
That's
four
correct.
prongs of the Howey test. And Gary only knows one of them, which is the profit of others, which has no distinct link between XRP and Ripple. And it's sad what happened in the library case because, again, if you don't have the resources to go toe-to-toe, because famously, two big billionaires on the planet today, you had that fought the SEC and won. Elon Musk was one. It took multiple years, maybe 6, 7. And then the other guy, do you remember who the other guy was, Jeff?
Okay.
Famously sold broadcast.com to Yahoo back in
The guy behind the guy.
You remember who he was?
Who are we talking about?
The guy who famously sold broadcast.com to Yahoo and before it died a miserable death. Mark Cuban, back in the day, this is how he got all his, got his big start. He was a bartender.
Is that where he got his start?
He was hanging around New York. He founded broadcast.com. Broadcast.com was way before its time. So they were going to be the first to broadcast sports games, and people are like, well, right. I just listen to it on the radio. Correct. So they were going to do all this. Now, the problem is back then, back in the 90s, they didn't have the throughput, right? So they didn't have high speed. And a lot of this was pushing the boundaries of the compression wasn't that good at the time. And you didn't have the pipe for it, right? So you had to have a T1 or some kind of a big connection. Yeah, I do. I remember the company I worked for, we had a T1 and it was like phenomenal for gaming back in the day. And, everything was like you would hit something and it was so, even to this day, super fast, right? Because it wasn't congested. But one of the funny things that came out of that was that when he would demo it for people, it was always on a really strong connection. So when he finally sold it to Yahoo came to the realization like 2-3 months later, it's like, that's great, but there's only like 3 to 5% of the people can actually watch and listen to this. So kudos to him. I think he sold it for $1 billion, which is like $10 billion today. K-HUD dropping the massive support as always. K-HUD's always been a massive supporter. Thank you so much, K-HUD. Let's keep it simple. We're buying, shipping cars, shipping. Jeff, read that. I'm already on top of my words there. Go ahead, take that one.
Let's keep it simple, Chip.
All right,
I'll read it. We're buying shipping cars, value transfer instruments in the Internet of Value. That's the way I see it. We're buying
I was like,
shipping cars, value transfer instruments in the Internet of Value. Can you rephrase that?
I'm trying to. I'm gonna have to get ChatGPT involved here. Let's see. So
Let's
if we
keep it
keep
simple.
it simple, we're
We're
buying and
buying.
shipping
Oh,
cars.
we're buying shipping cars, value transfer instruments in the Internet of Value.
That's the analogy right there. There you go. Okay.
We got a K-HUD. You got us on the
K-HUD.
right day.
Yeah, it's like you got us on the day where it.
Whoa, now. Hang on there.
Oh,
Hang
whoa,
in
whoa,
there.
whoa,
Whoa.
whoa,
Whoa, whoa,
Hey
whoa.
now, hey now. What's scary? What are you doing plastering Gary's face up there? That's like it's a little much.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, that's how I stop people.
Hey
Think
now.
of the railroads. Yes. The railroads. I get it now.
The railroads. You gonna put that story up, or are we gonna?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put the story up, but I got to start with a different story first. So
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
So this one, where's the, oh, there we go. SEC Chair Gensler hides dirty secrets. What dirty secrets? Now, as I looked around, I said, we don't even have to really read through the whole thing. But here I just get to this part here. It says, back in July last year, crypto law platform launched by Johnny Deaton published eye-opening revelations about Gary Gensler. Deaton revealed with the so-called Gensler files that the SEC chief may be acting in the interests of others. Now, Chip, I kind of got to that point. I said, do we really need to read the rest of this? Because yes, he is acting in the interest of others, but he's just not acting in the interest of kind of the common man, everyday kind of American that, wants to invest and do a little bit better. He's definitely acting in the interest of others outside of that group. And in most cases, it's probably special interest. So at the time, it came to light that Gensler had assets of more than 100 million in funds, which are mainly managed by Vanguard Group. They're two key companies, including Annabelle Lee and Marital Trust. And while Gensler's public schedule shows no notable meetings with crypto-related companies, he showed at least 7 meetings with Vanguard. Now, okay, that's interesting. They are a big lobbyist. And then it kind of gets on and on into this article. But I just thought, just pointing out the obvious of all of this is that he's not acting in our interests. He is acting in the interests of others. And it's very, very, consistent. Papa Huddle says he's acting in the interest of the Federal Reserve. Chip?
Don't get me started on that, Jeff. Don't get me started on that Federal Reserve. That's a very good, astute observation.
I know
there.
how much you support it.
Yeah, there's so much support right there. We have to crush the Fed, Jeff. We can't. How can you? Who thought it was a good
Start with
idea?
an audit.
You go back to Andrew Jackson, and it's like you get rid of the second one, and then in the middle of the night, in the December break, out of nowhere, here comes. They get rid of the major detractors, put them on a ship, sail them out to sea, call it the Titanic, and then sink the bastard. And then you just eliminated all your opposition, and then you roll in. But the fact that it's lasted this long, they don't almost ever last this long, Jeff. So,
whoa,
it's just too much. Look at the Gemini and Ripple in the background. What's up with that, Jeff?
He's got Gemini, Ripple, FTX, Poloniex, Genesis Capital, Paxos. You know why? Library, because this guy right here, SEC shadow crypto rule taking shape as enforcement cases mount. Now, Chip, I saw this kind of tied in with the other one. He's acting in the interests of others. Now, I look at this part of it, Chip, and I look, okay, shadow crypto ruling, right? So is he piecing everything together? Is everything that he has done up to this point on purpose as part of like a chess game? And he's strategically coming in and getting ready to, he feels that he's in kind of like a check situation because he's got everybody on the ropes. He's got Ripple, he's got Library, he's going after Paxos, he's going after meme stocks, he's going after the Kardashians. He went after that basketball player. He feels like he's got the upper hand. He's right there, a couple moves away from checkmate. And is he then using his shadow ruling because this is the guy. He wants to write the laws. He doesn't just want to enforce law, but he wants to write the law when it comes to cryptocurrency. And Chip, who's letting this guy go unchecked? Completely unchecked.
Well, Congress apparently, because Congress is a lot of talk about Congress. The red team took over and it was a new day. We're still waiting for that new day, Jeff. That new day is
New day.
I thought the new day,
coming
honestly, would be
on.
in the first quarter, and like here we are coming up on already. It's going to be March. I'm
That's
still
gonna be
waiting for the new day.
2024.
They're just I don't know what they're doing. They're forming committees and they're having calls and meetings, and
They're
but
going out for
nothing's getting
hanging
done,
out.
Jeff.
They probably got the basketball committee, baseball committee. Here it says here, Chip, the law is pretty straightforward. Gensler said in response to questions from CoinDesk last week, the ongoing insistence from the industry that the SEC is leaving crypto without clear rules is a false narrative. And I keep going back to this. How is it that the SEC can leave crypto with any kind of rules, clear or murky? How is it that they're the ones leaving the rules? Why is nobody calling them out that the SEC does not write the rules? They don't write the laws. They don't write the rules. It keeps coming up over and over again.
Jeff, but it goes back to the EPA, West Virginia versus EPA, right? This is what they were trying to do. They were bending the rules, not even bending them, just writing them out of nowhere. And they're like, well, you can't do that. And, thank God that West Virginia, the state stood up and said, like, you can't do that. And we have the same sort of scenario going on. That was a good tweet that John Dean was saying, look, if you don't agree with them, just read the West Virginia versus EPA. And we have to go back into that, but it was so ridiculous, Jeff, what they were trying to enact.
Oh, it's crazy.
Almost as ridiculous as our story with Ripple today.
It's going to be pretty ridiculous too. But crypto lawyers are well aware in most cases of what the SEC thinks defines a token as a security. Are they well aware? Maybe. Leaning on legal standards such as the so-called Howey test. Why is it the so-called? Why isn't it the so-called Howey test?
Who said the so-called? It's the so-called test, Jeff. I mean, it's been around for how long? It's not really. It's so-called.
The so-called Howey test to lay it out over and over in enforcement documents. And the lawyers also know which companies the SEC believes should be registered as national exchanges. Do they? I don't know if it's been announced 100%, but anyhow, the SEC has been consistently applying longstanding, well-known, and clear securities laws to crypto activities, said Dennis Keller, CEO of Better Markets, a Washington, D.C. group that pushes for tougher financial protections. The fundamental problem is that the crypto industry has intentionally chosen not to comply with those securities laws. Now, here again, another naysayer in the space. You know what I'm wondering with all the naysayers? Where's the Shermanator? We haven't heard from the Shermanator in quite a long time. The guy is just kind of like...
It's possibly maybe in hiding, Jeff. I've noticed a lot of those guys that had real high profile during the heyday have suddenly, awesome Shifty Shift is gone too. Like you don't hear from him making up some kind of gobbledygook about something. But there's a lot of panic going on and Panic in Detroit. That was a great tune. But no, there's a lot of panic going on in the swamp of DC, which happens.
The
swampland. Jeff, one of the cooler things about this whole idea of I guess maybe library being attacked and all the stable coins being attacked and all this whole sort of SEC overreach, I think it's brought a lot of people together. I think like there's been a good bonding. It's kind of like when something disastrous happens, people bond together in numbers. And, you look at the OTC family, but you look across the crypto sphere, I do think it's united a lot of people. And I think one of the big things that's come out of this is that those so-called Bitcoin maxis, they're so-called Bitcoin maxis.
They're so-called.
Maybe they are, maybe they're not. The so-called Bitcoin maxis even came to the realization, and even the so-called Ethereum maxis came to like, they're coming after Ripple. They could be coming all after, even though that was prefaced in the beginning. But all of a sudden, Jeff, out of nowhere, maybe this could be they went from hating Ripple to thinking, I still don't like Ripple, but I want Ripple to win because it's good for the whole ecosystem. I just think that it's that's one of the probably good things that's come out of it. The bad things, market tanked, $15 billion erased when that lawsuit dropped. But that's okay. We've got Gary Gensler looking after us retail investors. It's all good. It's all good, Jeff. I'll throw this. You got something? Yeah. Oh gosh, look at that picture,
There
Jeff.
he
That
is.
picture's from
That's
like 30 years ago, Jeff.
It's the Shermanator. The Shermanator.
Congressman Brad, and nobody can unseat this guy. I mean, even in a Democrat stronghold, there's surely people that are
This guy
100 years
hates
younger.
technology. He hates technology.
I like when he does
hates
like
the
that.
crypto space.
He tries to make, people that laugh at their own jokes ahead of time.
There he is.
Jeff.
See, look, he's working. They got
Oh.
him with a phone.
When was the last time you saw somebody using a landline phone, Jeff? Seriously, with a cord like that? We got rid of ours in the house like 12 or 15 years ago. I haven't had.
Well,
Like,
he is in the office.
Okay, but
At least he's in the office. I mean,
most people are talking on their mobiles.
Look at Gary Gensler, and he's always in front of that fireplace.
With that weird music.
There's nothing here. You see, stop talking about crypto.
All of a sudden, it's not the
It's not the
the
thing.
best thing. The thing, Jeff. The thing. The thing.
Oh wait, I found it.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go, people.
Unfortunately, you got to watch his remarks, but we're not going to watch his remarks because that wouldn't be very entertaining. Congressman Brad Sherman tears into FTX, calls cryptocurrency a garden of snakes.
Because that's such a popular phrase, Jeff. I think that went out around the turn of the 18th century or 19th century. Here. I don't know. It's like, it's a garden of snakes. And everyone's like, it's a garden of snakes. I mean, is that bad?
Where is this guy? Where's he sitting? Why can't we see?
Who's this dude that's got his head all cocked over there, Jeff? That dude in the bottom.
He's checking out. He's getting his picture, taking a look. During the highly anticipated Financial Services Committee hearing on the FTX collapse, Brad Sherman explained why the problem isn't just FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. The problem, Chip, is all crypto. Come on.
Oh, yeah. It must be. It must be all the crypto, Jeff.
It's all
the so-called problem.
The so-called problem. That's what we should edit that. It's not the problem. The so-called problem.
Just go in there and hammer his website.
The so-called garden of snakes.
Sherman is pro crypto now.
The problem is he works in the garden of snakes. He's very pro crypto. The problem is all crypto. Come on, that's so ridiculous.
Michael Murphy says the two characters in Disney's new movie Elemental are Ember Lumen and Wade Ripple. Are they trying to tell us something? So Lumens and Ripple will be in so we got a little XLM, a little XRP there. That's something, Michael. And man, how do you know about all this stuff? I haven't even heard of this movie. How does he know? How does he know, Jeff? Does Michael Murphy know something we're not supposed to know? I wanted to throw this up there. This is kind of a, if you guys have a XUMM wallet, I call it XUMM because it sounds better with the X.
I always pronounce my X's with an S.
I like XUMM wallet because remember we used to say SERPs. That was like the big thing. XRP, SERPs, ZERPs. Oh, ZERPs, SUMMs, ZUMMs. Yep. So it's a XUMM. It's a XUMM. The XUMM wallet. That's what I call it, but it's pronounced according to Weeds to Win. It's pronounced SUMM. SUM, like some.
There.
It's called his giant noggin.
The curly thing attached to his phone. The curly thing.
The curly thing. Remember those cords? Ridiculous, Jeff. Ridiculous, I tell you. So anyway, there's a cool new X app for that if you guys are into NFTs. But the coolest way to view and interact with your XRPL NFTs, one of the following ways. You can click this, or you can find it in the the XUMM Wallet X app panel, or you can scan this code if you guys want. You just scan this.
What does it
do? Show up as an X app. It shows up as an app on your phone. I have it installed here, and you can see.
It's the XUMM app you're talking about.
The XUMM app, yeah. So you have to scan that code, and it'll open it up as a if you go to the apps there, it'll that way you can.
If I scan it, you're not going to take all my cryptocurrency, are you?
Well, it's not. No, it's just you're just gonna. You got to go with your XUMM app, and you got to click on the X apps.
Mm-hmm.
and then click
Oh, it's
on
a
scan code.
non-fungible. Open an app XUMM.
Yeah, so you go ahead and sum, and you click that little black icon at the
Yep.
bottom that has the X and the check mark.
Doing it.
Then you click scan QR code.
And then you get into the collections.
And then it loads
Oh.
it onto your X app, and then you don't have to do that anymore.
Nice.
Yeah, but did
I
you load
got,
it? It's pretty cool.
Active, burned, issuers, owners. There's 16,000 owners, 504,000 trades, 15 million volume in XRP, 153 have been burned, 3,000 have been burned. Got X-Spectre, Combat, Kanga.
Yeah, if you you can keep
private
scrolling to the
collection.
side,
A lot of
you
cool
can
stuff
see
in here.
it's a very well done app. It looks fantastic, and it's really, to me, I think it's one of the best apps that's come out. And I hope this kind of sets a precedent for what's going to be. And pretty soon we'll be seeing the badass Yetis in there, Jeff.
Yeah,
we'll see those badass Yetis will be in there.
Hey now.
So anyway, that's pretty cool,
Check that
guys.
guy out right there. Look at that. Oh, see that?
Check that, dude.
Check that. That's my
that's your own
my mushroom.
That's your
my
X-room.
My X-room. My Jeff X-room.
I have a X-room as well.
Look at this. Sherman's full statement. Congressman Brad Shermanator statement on collapse of FTX. Congressman Shermanator, chairman of the subcommittee on investor protection and capital markets, released a statement on the collapse of one of the largest cryptocurrency firms in FTX. A dramatic demonstration of both the inherent risk of digital assets and the critical weakness in the industry that has grown up around them. So, wait a minute. So with Bernie Madoff, when he went down, were there inherent risks with trusting somebody to invest on your behalf, and that the SEC kind of ignored it? Is that an inherent weakness? All the billions lost to Bernie Madoff? Maybe we should stop investing in the stock market.
Yeah, it's a good point, Jeff. It's like, let's get into it. We're going to do it. I knew we were going to get to it.
Oh, wait. Before you get into that, you got to read XRP Hollywood. Ripple's fatal flaw. Before we read that. When they met with regulators in 2013, they should have brought BG123, RR, Vincent Wilson, and Jimmy Valley with them. 589 to 35,000 guaranteed.
Well, XRP Hollywood, yeah, that's they see, if they only had known, if they only brought, the Ripple Riddler there, and BG12, Bearable Guy 123, and Vincent Wilson and Jimmy Valley and all that stuff. Man. I mean, yeah,
Vincent Wilson
589.
They should have brought Vincent Wilson with them anywhere. I mean, 20,000 XRP would be life changing.
Yeah, when he forgot to tell us the year that would actually happen, but
right,
it's okay. It's gonna be life changing. When, I mean, let's suppose you're still living. For someone's life. I didn't say it might even be your own life. It might be somebody else,
exactly.
like your descendants. It'll be life changing for them, but not for you. You misread the tea leaves there.
Exactly,
Jeff.
It's gonna be life changing.
Yeah,
just in general. Yeah,
for somebody. That's not
for changing. Not for.
Did you think it was for you?
And not for you. You weren't the one.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. So we got to get to this story, Jeff. Please.
All right,
I mean, let's see what we can do here. So Ripple put this tweet out, and you guys know where Jeff and I are on this whole thing, but it says pre-purchasing right here, Jeff. So you want to know where they went wrong? The first 3 words, okay? The pre-purchasing carbon credits negates this entire tweet for dumbness award.
Well, then it double negates when you keep reading.
Pre-purchasing carbon credits. Okay, let's put that aside. Enables the future removal of CO2 from the atmosphere.
I'm trying to figure that out. How does that work? So if I'm gonna pre-purchase my carbon credits, Chip. So next year, my carbon footprint is probably going to be smaller than Bill Gates, guaranteed. But I'm going to pre-purchase what my few cars can generate. Yeah. Does that mean that there will be less CO2 in the atmosphere or the same amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. Or maybe there's more because now someone is bloviating and telling me that if I pre-buy CO2 carbon credits that I'm not doing right now, that somehow that's going to impact a removal of CO2 from the environment.
Well, what do you think the future removal means, Jeff? Like I think that's where I'm having a difficult time. Like, what is the future removal? So is it going to magically like it's not saying it's going to be in lieu of, it's saying the future,
right? The future removal.
Like, and
At
who's
some
going
point
to
in the future.
And how's it going to magically get removed? I don't understand this. This is weird.
That's up to a future generation to worry about.
Let's see. I don't know.
Learn how carbon credits. Oh, see, now they get into it. Learn how carbon credits can finance the fight against climate change. So they want to put more money into helping to fight climate change.
Okay, so
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how an extra tax is fighting a decrease in carbon emissions.
Well,
Maybe you don't have enough money left over to do anything because you paid all your money out in taxes. So you basically just sit home. Therefore, your carbon footprint has shrunk exponentially.
So, Jeff, I just went ahead and asked ChatGPT. And I said, is this the dumbest statement? And I basically put that tweet in there. And ChatGPT said, well, no, the statement's not necessarily dumb. It's true that pre-purchasing carbon credits can finance projects that aim to reduce or remove carbon emissions from the atmosphere, such as planting trees or investing in renewable energy sources. Statement also correctly suggests that there's innovative companies and technologies involved in these efforts. With that being said, the effectiveness and reliability of carbon credits and reducing greenhouse gas emissions is a topic of debate among experts in the field. Some argue that the carbon offset market may not result in real emission reductions, or they could be used as a greenwashing tool by companies that don't actually reduce their own emissions. So while the statement is not dumb, it's important to carefully evaluate the carbon offset projects and companies being supported through pre-purchasing. If you guys don't know, ChatGPT is a
little bit leftist.
A lot of leftist, Jeff. Okay, and so it was like the danger zone of like trying not to say it's the dumbest thing ever, with kind of admitting, because carbon credits are really, if you want to see like a fancy name for something, if I change carbon credits to what it really is, which is a tax, pre-purchasing a tax, you're like, whoa, you stop right there, right, with the whole tax. So, and then there's this beautiful picture and a gorgeous picture of trees and water there.
Everybody's against pollution. That's
I think true.
We should. Nobody wants to, pollute the environment. Nobody wants to have, garbage strewn about. Everybody wants to be in a nice, clean environment. They just got to stop the BS and stop the overtaxation. But here's the point, though, is that Michael Murphy brings up a really solid point, and this is like being able to invest in debt. They're selling pollution. So
right.
if you can make money off of pollution and you call it a carbon offset, and now if you can get people to invest in it and actually earn a return on it and maybe stake against pollution, now we're talking. Now, if you can stake against somebody's carbon offset, man, it's a whole new way of making money.
Right. But what ChatGPT got right is that, okay, so listen, so I think everybody can get behind a project that plants trees, right? Especially areas, let's say in Brazil, where they've just wiped out a good portion. All right, so that's a great thing. I don't think anyone's going to be, and it's not like we don't see the benefits, but this whole carbon credit thing just seems like a fleecing where it's kind of like we all got behind this thing. The carbon credit. Okay, what's the carbon credit? Well, you're basically saying that if you do this, you're going to reduce. Well, how? I mean, it's not going to, it doesn't do anything in reality. It's just one of these things that makes you feel good that you're doing something good. You know what? Go volunteer and go clean up your beach. Go volunteer and go clean up, wherever, litter that's strewn about, support stuff that gets that garbage out of the ocean. Like, these are valid. There's some guy that invented this machine that they let run in the ocean, Jeff, and it just fills up a giant ship with just garbage. and it's an
amazing.
automated thing. It just goes out there and churns. Okay, let's do
Yep.
more of that. Let's do more of things that are going to actually make an impact to make the earth we live on a great place. But this carbon credit stuff, Jeff. So here we go with the thing. So it's like Ripple's committed to a sustainable future. Great, love that. And acting on it every day by reducing the carbon footprint. And okay, great. You know, carbon. That's the cool thing about XRP. It's a neutral, zero carbon effect, right? A fast, low energy, carbon neutral public blockchain, because innovative tech can play the catalytic role in successfully addressing some of the world's challenges, such as climate change. That's another misnomer, Jeff. Let's not even get into that. Ripple supports companies building the infrastructure to scale equitable climate finance and invest in innovative carbon removal projects. There you go. There's something good. Since a $100 million commitment announced last May, Ripple made a significant move towards supporting high-impact carbon removal projects, most notably pre-purchasing carbon credits from BC Biocarbon and Biocarbon or Carbon Cure in 2022, representing the future removal of close to 120 metric tons of CO2. So we got to talk about how do they do this, Jeff? How do they remove this CO2?
I don't know. Plant more trees. If you plant more trees, then
carbon
it
removal
just happens, doesn't it? Don't trees need CO2 to exist and live?
That's what I thought.
I mean,
and then they release,
and then here we have a chemical spill. Not to get political and go off topic of crypto, but there's this big train wreck in Ohio, and then they decided to do a burn of the chemical, and they put all of the chemicals like a mushroom cloud of chemical, and they spread this chemical all over that town, and they're running around saying how safe and perfect everything is. And we haven't even seen, years from now, we're going to see the outcome. We're going to see the lawsuits and everything else. But come on. I mean, it's so crazy. We're talking about carbon credits over here, and meanwhile, they're just dumping, through a train wreck, they're dumping chemicals all over the place. Maybe they could have done a clean. Instead, they did a slow burn. I mean, it's so crazy. But
well, Jeff, all I have to say is one thing about that.
Yeah.
Where are the environmentalists that are always out there throwing paint on, go into a museum and throw paint on pictures? And where are the people concerned about the environment? Where are the climate change folks, the kind of damage that will do? And meanwhile, they've found the chemical far away as Toronto. It's been over in Ontario. It's spread to like 5 or 10 states. It's infected the river that goes all the way down to the Mississippi. It's just, it's worse than, I grew up around Love Canal. It's worse than Love Canal. It's a disaster. And everyone's like, yeah, it's cool. Not one word about it, Jeff. Not even so much. And not even any empathy or sympathy for the folks that just were trying to live their lives, and this happened in their neighborhood. No help from the federal government. They got denied 2 or 3 until one person said they were going to go visit. Then all of a sudden, that very moment, they said, okay, well, yeah, sure, we'll send you some aid. But again, things that are wrong with the world and in so many different ways. Anyway, this
looks completely moronic, Chip, just mostly.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that. And so
plant orange trees and lemon trees. You can remove CO2.
Yeah, I'm sure they can, Jeff. And says 120,000 metric tons of CO2. I don't even know, is that a drop in the bucket? Because one thing people get very concerned, there was an oil spill in the ocean many years ago, and it was just blowing out the whole. Well, what people don't realize, this happened. Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico. What the people don't happen, this happens all the time. It's a natural occurrence. We just don't have a video camera down there that's watching this thing, blow. And it's kind of like if you took a bathtub of water, Jeff, and you put the tiniest drop in it, and it's like you would not see the drop anymore. Not even a drop, like a smaller than a drop. But everybody gets all freaked out about stuff. Meanwhile, nobody's freaked out about. So I'm like, where are these people that are going to go help and save the planet? Why aren't they worried about the soil? Like, this is a real.
Why isn't Ripple focused on? Why isn't right now? Ripple is up against one of the biggest lawsuits of their history, and there's so much to do in this space on a global stage for crypto and blockchain. Why are they so hyper focused on carbon credits and everything else that's going on. I get it. You want to be involved in some other stuff, but from a company perspective, when you're up against, unsurmountable obstacle, why are they even talking about that right now? Why are we referencing carbon credit? The reason why they're referencing carbon credit is because if you use hooks and rippling and all these other things that are getting ready to come out, where you could have money go out and you can have a little fraction of that money go someplace else. And so that it's all being orchestrated, it's all being worked on right now. That if you have your regular sales tax, then now they can fragment they can add to your sales tax. They can have additional VAT that goes when you purchase stuff. They can have carbon credits tacked on to when you purchase stuff through, especially if it's programmable digital currency. And now, they just fragment it off. Now it's interesting. This is the good and bad chip of what's going on with the XRPL and things that Ripple is working on, because there's a lot of amazing things. But if it gets, if you start looking at it from an overzealous perspective, especially when you get the centralized control mechanism into it, all of a sudden now it completely changes the dynamic of the cryptocurrency. You add a little bit of social scoring, sprinkle that in there, a little fairy dust of social scoring, a little bit of carbon credit, you had a little bit of all these things. All of a sudden you go to buy something and it's just like your money's just fleecing. You're being fleeced.
Yeah.
You're being fleeced.
So yeah, so this kind of came up. This was another thing on crypto Twitter that people went crazy about, Jeff, and I think we should unpack this. But you guys know David Schwartz. This is our David Schwartz segment here that's going to come up. But David Schwartz changed his Twitter banner. And here it is right here. So there it is. But and he changed it to Ripple. When a scrappy financial startup takes on a web of corruption and betrayal to bring instant payments to the masses, they learn that the cost of disrupting the status quo is higher than they could ever imagine, forcing them to decide between their vision and their survival. It's really it's really one of those in a world where scrappy finance meets startup. It's like one of these movie trailers, right?
Did he?
A lot of people read
AI write it.
I don't know who wrote it, Jeff, but I'm just really looking at this thing and it's like people are like freaking out. I'm like, David Schwartz has this funny sense of humor too. And it's right. A scrappy startup took on the web of corruption and betrayal.
And what do you
expect? Probably threw a couple things in the chat GPT and wrote it. Who knows? He likes to mess with AI, but people are like freaking out about this. By the way, look at that beautifully feathered hair, Jeff. Isn't that fantastic?
It's awesome.
It's gorgeous, isn't it, Jeff?
Looks
look at
really
that.
Good.
So
amazing.
So the face looks real, but the hair and everything else looks a little.
Not so.
Yeah, that's it. And so I thought that was it. That was an interesting take. Everyone's like, dude, what does that mean? What is he saying? What's going on? Well, he also put this up from David Schwartz segment. He said, so it looks like my other eyes. Remember he put this one up there? What's a pirate's favorite digital asset? And it was XRP. And of course, that's David Schwartz with an eye patch on, but it's an XRP. Got the XRP logo. I don't know what happened to Jeff. Jeff just disappeared. I don't know if his battery died. But here we have, it's always weird. It's like, didn't even say goodbye. He just like blasted out of here. So maybe his battery died on his. So he put this out. This was, when was this? This was 2019. Let me do the math here, guys. 2020, 21, 22. Okay, 3 years ago. Almost nearly 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, here he is putting up this. He's got the pirate patch on. There you go, David Schwartz. And then he put this up today. So it looks like my other eye is going to need surgery as well. I called up the same doctor who did an amazing job on my right eye and spoke to the receptionist. We had the following conversation. Me, hi, I'm David Schwartz. I had a cataract removed from my right eye a bit over 3 years ago, and the doctor said I needed to get the left eye done eventually. Guess why I'm calling? Her. Okay, we'll need to schedule a consult to confirm that you have a cataract. Me, well, it was diagnosed by the same doctor who diagnosed the first cataract. Her, well, We still need to confirm the diagnosis. Me, well, that's probably a good idea since she diagnosed the first one as a detached retina. So there you go. I don't know, Jeff. What right in the middle of doing a show, and Jeff just took off. I don't know what happened to him. He was here, now he's gone. That's what happens. Anyway, let me throw up another news story here. Let's see what else we got on the magic OTC bag, or the Keep as we call it. If you guys ever use Google Keep, that's our tool of preference because it's shared, and Jeff and I can throw stuff in there all the time. And I thought this was another one that we saw kind of like going around over on the crypto Twitter. So we'll talk a little bit about this. But again, John Deaton kind of, holy cow, what is going on with technology today, man? Here we go. Oh my gosh, this is a deep one. I got to open them all up here, but give me 1 second here as I open all these up. But here, this was tweeted out here. This one was tweeted by DB. It says NBA Top Shot moment NFTs or securities the judge finds. Okay, so this is apparently what DB is saying. DB put this out. You guys know the Top Shots were pretty big. Jeff, what happened to you? Was battery die?
No, I
Lost
don't
the
know what
camera?
happened. It just said no more memory, and it just killed everything. I made a mistake and decided to upgrade to Windows 11.
Oh no. You got to wait till it's been tested, Jeff. You can't be like one of the early adopters.
Well, my desktop works really nice with Windows 11, but the laptop, Chrome's not playing so nice with it.
So this one says, it's just a story by Chris Dolmich. It says, NBA Top Shot FTs and securities. Judge says in landmark case, creator of the marketplace for the NBA's Top Shots NFTs, must face a lawsuit accusing it of selling unregistered securities after a judge declined to dismiss the complaint. The suit filed in 21 alleges that Dapper Labs violated U.S. securities law by offering Top Shot moments, digital video clips, and highlights from NBA games without registering them with regulators, and used its control over the collectibles to protect investors from withdrawing their funds. On Wednesday, U.S. District Judge Victor Marrero denied a request by Dapper Labs to throw out the suit before the trial, finding the moments are securities under a legal standard known as the Howey test. Huh. Okay. So Andrew put out an update and said, update, rumors swirling for 2 weeks that big layoffs are coming at Dapper Labs. The latest decision regarding NFTs as securities below may accelerate the rumors. And then here comes John Deaton behind that says, for your information, the true rumor here is that the judge gave a decision stating NFTs are securities. That did not happen. He simply denied a motion to dismiss, which is rarely granted. The only way this would be news of a surprise is if the judge had granted the motion to dismiss. So there you go, Jeff. There you have it. Another story. Andrew finally says, correct. The rumors of larger layoffs have been circling Dapper for 2 weeks. Per journalist sources, they've been avoiding comment.
The end of
Dapper.
Dapper.
He says correct. What's he talking about?
Oh, it's very Dapper.
Dapper
Super
Labs.
Dapper. Super
Dapper, Dapper do. And there you have it, Jeff.
Tell you what. So Hong Kong proposing rules for crypto trading platforms, right? We're starting to see a lot of movement in that direction. So we have Hong Kong proposes rules for crypto trading. So it's a whole thing with licensing, whatever, it kind of goes into detail. But the point here is that you're seeing countries all around the world that are starting to normalize cryptocurrency. So then we get Brian Armstrong comes out kind of responding to this whole thing that on June 1st, Hong Kong will officially make crypto purchase and sell trading fully legal for its citizens. Expect a huge influx of big money from the East. Asian currency-based stablecoin coming out of Hong Kong will be certainty as well. Brian Armstrong then responds that America risks losing its status as a financial hub long-term with no clear regulation on crypto and a hostile environment from regulators. Congress should act soon to pass clear legislation. Crypto is open to everyone in the world, and others are leading the EU, the UK, and now Hong Kong. So the U.S., this is another kind of warning shot being shot across our bow And Brian Armstrong is the messenger in this case, really, laying it out very, very clearly that the U.S. is on the precipice of losing our financial hub status. We are going to lose our status as a global leader in general. We're going to lose reserve currency status. We're going to lose trade currency status. We are going to lose the status of being a financial hub of any way, shape, or form, mainly due to what we're seeing happen right now, because the writing's on the wall. The whole world, Chip, understands the dynamic of what cryptocurrency and the blockchain tech is bringing to the financial realm. And man, we're what are we going to lead from behind? We're not even going to be in the race. We're just going to be leading from a sideline.
It's hard to catch up after that, Jeff. I mean, it really is.
It's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre. BRICS will destroy the dollar.
Yeah,
Brazil,
I'm not convinced of that.
Russia, India, China, Singapore. I don't know where, Russia. I never understood why Russia was really put into the whole BRICS thing. Brazil, I don't know, how they, they're not as influential even down in Latin America. They're very kind of one-dimensional. They don't like a lot of outside influence, and they don't influence a lot of outsiders out of Brazil. India, 100%. They're going to be a behemoth. I think China, definitely. Sure. And Singapore, I know they put this whole BRICS together and, that flow, but I still don't understand how the whole Brazil factors into it.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, Jeff, quite honestly. But I wanted to share this when we put the eye patch of David Schwartz, and Ed Fragilowski said, hey, Madonna wore an eye patch too. You remember this, Jeff? Everybody went crazy because they thought that was the XRP logo. They're like, what is she trying to say? And me just there was an X on there, but everyone's like, dude, it's the XRP logo. I remember when this went around a couple years back. That was back when she still looked like Madonna. And I don't know who she is now. She's creepy looking.
Very creepy.
But yeah, it's good. That was true. That was true. The old Madonna.
Yeah.
There you go. There you have it. That's it, Jeff. That's pretty much all we have.
Jim D. It's bigger now. BRICS, OPEC, Africa, Latin. That's true. Major alliance. But yeah, I think Michael Murphy and Jim D are definitely onto something big. And it's basically a global phenomenon. Everybody is trying to figure it out. Take it away.
This is a good comment from Jim D. He says, load up on gold and silver before the digital programmable dollar comes out, because they'll prevent you from using Fed coins to buy competing real money like gold and silver.
Yes.
That's possible, but that's why we just need to get rid of and when they always come out and they say, because this was the story we had the other day, it's like, well, we're thinking about doing we're thinking about the CBDC, but we're very concerned about privacy. I'm like, when they mention that, they're not concerned about privacy, man.
Mentellect. Every move made or not made by the U.S. is 100% predictable. The U.S. is intentionally allowing the death of the dollar, but the dollar's death started with Nixon.
Absolutely, 100%.
The removal of the gold standard.
Yeah, and then what's it backed by? Zilcho. And so just to show you by the same standard, a stable coin loses some of its pegging because of reporting for like maybe a 24-hour period. And all of a sudden the regulators come down on it. Meanwhile, you've got the US dollar that's backed by nothing since Nixon took it off the gold standard. And that's cool. It's the US government. That's fine. So it's always rules for thee, not for we. And that's kind of how it goes. And that's kind of how there's an elite people that are never touched. And then there's the little people that, well, they get screwed over time and time again.
Going back to the gold standard, we hold the most gold of any country in the world. Hopefully that's the case. We see a lot of countries that have been stockpiling, Russia being one of them, China being one of them.
Russia leased back their currency by gold. Smart move.
True. Very true. So that's the time we got, Chip. And as always, you guys are amazing out there in the on the chain community sphere. We didn't talk about the badass Yetis. Well, we'll talk about the badass Yetis. I was going to say on Wednesday, but you know what, Jeff? Today's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, yeah.
We'll talk about some badass Yetis on Saturday because we got a few more that we can share. And by the way, there's a huge NFT, event going on in Miami at the end of March. If you guys are going, give us a shout out. We'll be there. So make sure you guys let us know, and maybe we'll even get to stream a little bit from there, do a little something or another. But it's going to be a
great.
cool event. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be the whole weekend at the end of the month of March, not February, of March. But with that, Chip, that's all I've got. You got anything else?
I've got nothing else but to say, catch us again on Saturday morning. Guys, have a great rest of your week, and we will see you the so-called on the chain. I like that.
So-called.
We'll see you on the so-called on the chain on the next one. See you guys. Chip and Jeff. Out. See you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.